Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to be exploring the power of the subconscious mind. How it shapes our lives.
Yeah.
And more importantly, how we can shape it.
Yeah.
We'll be diving deep into an article from The Art of Living, which combines ancient Indian wisdom with a modern perspective. So,
Right.
ready to unlock some serious potential.
Absolutely. It's fascinating how different cultures across centuries have recognized the subconscious. And, now modern research is starting to validate these age-old ideas.
Yeah, it really is. And so this article kicks off with a question I think a lot of us can relate to. Why do we sometimes feel defeated, guilty, or just plain unhappy, even when things seem okay on the surface?
It's all about what's happening beneath the surface in our subconscious. Think of it like this. Your mind is a stage with a constant play going on.
Hi.
And the main characters, a good guy and a not so good guy, engaged in an endless inner dialogue.
Okay, so not a feel-good buddy comedy.
Not always. The problem is when the not so good guy hogs the spotlight, every negative thought, every difficult experience leaves an impression, like a footprint on this stage.
And guess where those footprints accumulate?
The subconscious.
Exactly.
So our subconscious is almost like a storehouse, packed with all these experiences shaping our thoughts and actions, even when we're not aware of it.
Exactly. And this is where it gets really interesting. You see, our subconscious doesn't judge what it stores. It doesn't differentiate between good and bad.
Oh.
It simply accepts whatever we feed it.
That's a bit unsettling, isn't it? It means that if we're constantly bombarded with negativity, whether it's from our own thoughts, the media, or even other people, our subconscious absorbs it all, and it starts to influence how we view ourselves and the world.
Precisely. It's like programming a computer.
Oh, yeah.
If you keep inputting negative code, you're going to get negative output. And the article highlights this concept beautifully with an ancient Indian saying, angels are everywhere, always ready to grant our wishes, even the negative ones. So we need to be very careful what we wish for. Wow, I've never thought about it that way. It really highlights the power of our intentions, both conscious and subconscious. So how do we start rewriting the script, so to speak? How do we shift from negative programming to something more positive and empowering?
Well, the article provides 10 practical tips for reprogramming the subconscious mind. But before we jump into those, I want to emphasize that it's not about denying negative thoughts or experiences. It's about shifting our overall focus.
Right.
Our default setting towards positivity.
It's like changing the channel, right?
Yeah,
We still might catch glimpses of those negative programs, but we're not glued to them anymore.
exactly. So with that in mind, let's dive into the first two tips. The article emphasizes the importance of halting negative thoughts in their tracks.
Okay.
It's like saying, stop, I'm not going down that rabbit hole, and then consciously replacing those negative thoughts with positive ones.
Easier said than done, right? Our brains are wired to focus on the negative.
Yeah.
It's a survival mechanism from our cave-dwelling days.
You're absolutely right. It takes practice and patience, but there's a fascinating piece of research that highlights the effectiveness of this approach. A study at UCLA found that simply labeling negative thoughts as thoughts rather than facts can significantly reduce their emotional impact. It creates a distance, a sense of detachment that allows us to choose a different perspective.
That's so interesting. It's like we're reclaiming our power by recognizing that our thoughts are not always an accurate reflection of reality.
Exactly. And this leads perfectly to the second tip, which is all about cultivating positive thinking as a habit.
So it sounds like we're talking about training our minds, a bit like training a muscle.
Uh-huh.
The more we practice positive thinking, the stronger it becomes.
That's a great analogy. And just like physical exercise, it's important to start small and gradually increase the intensity. The article suggests a really simple but effective technique. Each morning, look at your hands and tell yourself, these hands are going to do amazing things today.
It's like setting an intention, a positive direction for the day, right? And speaking of setting intentions, I'm curious about the next tip. It involves something we hear a lot about, but maybe don't always practice gratitude.
Yes, gratitude is incredibly powerful. The article recommends taking a few moments each night before sleep to reflect on the good things that happened during the day, even on the toughest days. There's always something to be grateful for, a kind word from a stranger, a beautiful sunset, a delicious meal.
Right? It's about shifting our focus from what we lack to what we have.
Right.
And I imagine this practice has a direct impact on our subconscious.
Absolutely. Research has shown that practicing gratitude can actually rewire our brains, making us more optimistic and resilient.
That's amazing. It's like we're literally changing our brain chemistry by choosing to focus on the positive.
Exactly. And this leads us to another powerful tool for transforming the subconscious meditation. Think of meditation as a mental detox. It allows us to step back from the constant chatter of our minds and observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment.
Okay, so it's not about stopping our thoughts altogether,
Yeah.
but rather about creating space between us and our thoughts so we can choose which ones to engage with.
Precisely. And as we practice meditation regularly, we start to notice that the negative thoughts have less power over us. We're less reactive, more peaceful, and more able to access the wisdom and creativity of our subconscious mind.
It's like we're clearing out the clutter to make room for something new and beautiful to grow.
Exactly. And speaking of creating the right environment for growth, the article also emphasizes the importance of sleep. When we're sleep deprived, our mental and emotional reserves are depleted,
Right.
making us more susceptible to negativity.
It's like trying to run a marathon on an empty stomach, you know?
Yeah.
We need to nourish ourselves with rest to have the energy to cultivate a positive mindset.
That's a great analogy. Aim for at least 6 to 8 hours of quality sleep each night to support a more positive state of being.
Solid advice now. I'm intrigued by the next tip. It's about thinking big.
Yes, the article encourages us to dream big, to set ambitious goals that align with our values and passions. Having a sense of purpose can be incredibly motivating and uplifting.
It's like having a North Star guiding us forward. But I imagine it's important to strike a balance between ambition and realism, right?
Absolutely. It's not about setting ourselves up for disappointment by setting unrealistic expectations. It's about challenging ourselves to grow, to step outside our comfort zones, and to pursue something that truly lights us up.
Right, so it's about aligning our desires with our values and taking inspired action. And this ties in nicely with the next tip, which is about approaching the universe with confidence.
Yes, when we ask for what we want with clarity and conviction, the universe responds accordingly.
It's like we're sending out a clear signal and the universe picks it up and helps us manifest our desires. But I imagine it's not just about wishing and hoping, right?
You're absolutely right. We need to back up our desires with action. The next tip emphasizes the importance of hard work and dedication. It's about putting in the effort day after day to make our dreams a reality.
So it's about being proactive, about taking responsibility for creating the life we want. And I imagine this active approach helps to strengthen our belief in ourselves and our abilities.
Absolutely. And this leads us to the final tip, which is all about having faith. After putting in the effort, it's important to surrender our desires to a higher power and trust that the best will come our way.
So it's about letting go of the need to control the outcome and trusting that the universe has our back.
Exactly. And this doesn't mean passively waiting for things to happen. It's about having faith that our efforts will bear fruit, even if we can't see the results immediately.
Yeah, it's that balance of effort and surrender. Right, we do our part and then we trust the process.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that this is a journey, not a destination. Transforming our subconscious mind takes time, effort, and patience.
And self-compassion, we all have those not-so-good guy moments. It's about recognizing them, acknowledging them, and gently guiding ourselves back to a more positive path.
Absolutely. And the beauty of this journey is that it's not just about personal growth. It also has a ripple effect on our relationships with others.
Yeah, now that's an interesting thought. We've been focusing so much on the internal impact of the subconscious, but how does it play out in our interactions with others?
Well, think of it this way. Our subconscious is like a filter through which we perceive the world and the people around us. If that filter is clouded with negativity, we're more likely to see negativity in others.
Right. So if we're carrying around a lot of unresolved emotional baggage, or if we have, deep-seated insecurities, those patterns might show up in our relationships.
Exactly. It's like projecting a movie onto a screen.
Okay.
The screen doesn't change, but the movie we project can create a completely different experience.
So someone who's struggling with feelings of unworthiness, for example, might unconsciously seek out partners who reinforce those beliefs.
Precisely. And it's not about blame. It's about recognizing these patterns and understanding how they might be influencing our interactions.
It seems like the work we do on our subconscious is not just about improving our own lives, but also about creating healthier, more fulfilling relationships with the people we care about.
Absolutely. By clearing out the negativity and cultivating more positive beliefs and patterns in our subconscious, we create a more positive and loving space for ourselves and for others.
This has been such an insightful deep dive. I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of this incredibly powerful and complex part of ourselves.
It's a lifelong journey of exploration, and I encourage you to continue diving deeper into this fascinating topic.
Absolutely. And before we wrap up, I have one final thought I want to leave our listeners with. We've talked a lot about the power of our thoughts and beliefs, but what about the role of our subconscious in shaping our physical health?
That's a great question. And there's a growing body of research exploring the mind-body connection and the impact of the subconscious on our physical well-being, for example. Studies have shown that stress, which often originates from negative thought patterns in the subconscious, can weaken the immune system and increase the risk of chronic diseases.
So if we can learn to manage our stress and cultivate more positive subconscious, we might actually be able to improve our physical health as well.
That's the exciting possibility that research is starting to uncover.
It seems like the more we understand about the power of the subconscious mind, the more possibilities open up for personal growth, healing, and transformation.
Absolutely. It's an ongoing journey of discovery, and I encourage you to embrace it with curiosity, open-mindedness, and a sense of adventure.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the power of the subconscious mind. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and are feeling inspired to embark on your own journey of exploration.
Remember, the power to shape your mind, your life, and even your health lies within you. Start with one small step today and watch as the transformation unfolds.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.